Hi, I don't know how to talk. What's up, dudes? Today I'm gonna talk about the ESFJ personality type, and I know two people who are of this type. So one is a teacher. I actually really like him. He's a good teacher, and the other one's is a friend of mine. So here's my point of view on them, if anyone cares. And yeah, here it is. Okay, so ESFJs, again, I love criticizing people, so I'm going to start with the negatives, what I feel are the negatives, and then the positive part. So ESFJ personality types are, in my opinion, I think they're very sensitive, but they don't like to show it. Yeah, I think they're very sensitive, but they have this demeanor that they want to portray, where they're like, oh, we're not sensitive, we're not sensitive, we're just really, this is who we are, we're rough and tough, and we don't care about what people say. But truthfully, I feel like inside they really dwell on things that have happened to them, or just things in general. And I just feel like ESFJs really, as I said, tend to dwell on that kind of stuff. So from the front, they'll be like, oh, I don't care what she did. But on the inside, they're like, I care what she did. And I feel like this nature kind of comes from, which is the second point, taking things very personally. Sometimes I'll just say something or do something to an ESFJ and I won't realize that I've done it, but then to them they'll take it very personally, and they'll be like, oh, she did this to me, what is all that about? And they tend to really dwell and try to figure out things. But yeah, and I guess I think they have this tendency to overanalyze what people have said. Like I've seen this teacher of mine, or I guess what I'm trying to say is that they're really not that good at keeping keeping their sensitivity inside. So it's like they really want to show to people around them that they're very rough and tough, but in the smallest ways, or at least something I've noticed, in small ways, they actually reveal themselves to the people around them. And yeah, so in just really small ways, they kind of give themselves away, maybe just to me, maybe to other people too. I don't know how other people think, but yeah. This is also, I said this in the ENFP video as well. They're very passive aggressive. So I think the passive aggressive thing comes from the fact that, I don't know, it's, as I said, in small ways, it comes out. That's what she said. No, that's not what she said. What am I saying? As I said, their sensitivity comes out in small doses, and I guess passive aggressive would just be this other really small way that they express themselves. Because I personally feel that being passive aggressive is a way people express themselves. So yeah, so they're quite passive aggressive. If you do something, they'll avoid you. I think, or not avoid you. They'll be passive aggressive, the normal way people are. And I think they're kind of judgmental. I was talking to my friend the other day, and she went on a rant about why someone did what they did. Okay, I don't know how to say stuff. Drama channel, no. But it's basically just, she was talking about why is it that people just post about their relationships online. And I told her that, well, it's up to people. But she was like, that's so stupid. I don't understand why it's that way. And I was like, okay, well, all right, if you don't, you don't. But she was just constantly like talking about how it is that why is it that people are just constantly posting about their relationship and it's been like a month or 2 months, and I to be honest, I don't really care. But I was trying to let the topic go, but she was just on it over and over again, which she couldn't have done anything because it was kind of like an influencer online. So that was kind of stupid, but yeah, so I think, and I've also seen this in my teacher, it's always from, it's like, it's either my way or it's the wrong way. Every time he corrects like the papers, he'll be like, don't give it back to me because, what was that? Yeah, he was constantly like, don't give it back to me because you're wrong and I'm right, which kind of pisses me off a little bit, but that's okay. At the end of the day, he does make us get good marks, so I don't know what I'm complaining about. But yeah, so I think ESFPs are more just like, it's my way or it's the wrong way. There's no way that, well, if it's not what I'm doing, then it's probably not the thing you're supposed to be doing, you know. Now here is the good side of ESFJs, which I have learned to recognize and really kind of like, I really like, you know, I appreciate about ESFJs, not Ps. I don't know if I said Ps. ESFJs. Okay, so they're very neat and organized. It's yeah, I've noticed this about my teacher. He literally carries this like small little booklet, and he was telling us about it. He carries a small book, and he writes everything in the book, that like everything that he has to do, and he writes it, and he like makes a to-do list and like ticks off everything. And I just feel like it's so like sweet that people can do that, because I can't. But yes, they're very neat and very organized. They're very structured, at least from what appears from the outside, day-to-day wise. They're very structured. They know what to do and how to do it. And I guess the word you could use for them is precise. They're very precise. So I think an ESFJ would be the person when you're taking a physics experiment, and I would be someone who would be like, oh, it's 4.7896, and they'd be like, I'd be like, okay, so since it's 4.7896, I'll just take 4.8. And they'll be like, no, you have to take 4.7896 because it's only then that you'll get the perfect value. Which also, like, this depends on the different apparatus and stuff, but yeah, mostly, like, you get the point. And I feel like ESFJs are those people who are like always prepared. They're like, oh, well, if this happens, here's the other part of this, and if this happens, here's the other part of this. Whereas I would be like, well, here are the different options, but then I'll start contemplating about what could possibly go right or wrong in those different options. But ESFJs, I think they're just more, they're like, okay, they're very objective in a way. It's like, well, it's kind of parallels to, not parallels, kind of, you know, opposes what I said earlier, but in like, I think in situations they're just like, okay, so this is A, we can do B, C, and D as the other plan, and once we do that, well, we do that, you know. I don't know if that makes sense, made sense, but I just feel like, as I said, they're quite objective and they know what to do when and how, and it's more like, you know, it's not here's what could go wrong, here's the different options and let's narrow down the possible best option. But whereas if, like, I feel like if an INTP was doing it, they'd come up with like the flaws and like the good parts of the other options, and it'd be a complete like big cycle, which is very unnecessary. Then we've got, yeah, what I actually appreciate about ESFJs are that they don't analyze that much. As I said, they just like to come up with options straight away. It's more objective than subjective. I feel like for maybe like an INFP or an INTP, or even not J's, I think it's more P's, but I feel like an INFP or an INTP, yeah, but I feel like for an INFP and an INTP, we tend to read between the lines. If someone said something, then then like this could have been the possible things that they meant. But I feel like ESFJs are good at taking things at face value, but they consider all the other things as well. So yeah, I guess they know how to take things at face value. However, what they take at face value, sometimes they can get a little, like, oh, what did this mean? So they tend to not read that much between the lines, which is something I like because I read between the lines a lot, and so do my friends. But that just makes things more complicated. So I feel like ESFJs are a good example of people not taking things too much out of proportion. They tend to really I remember I used to do that so much. Anyway, they tend to really just take things the way they are. Okay, so thanks ESFJs. If you're an ESFJ, tell me if I went wrong somewhere. This is again just my point of view from what I've observed. So yeah.